Cradled in the foothills of the Wallowa Mountains, Joseph, Oregon is a sparkling gateway to some of the greatest fishing in the world. And down at the Joseph Fly Shop on Main Street, Rob Lamb will show you what it takes to catch them.
Why don't we put the rod in your hand, and I'm actually going to take your
We honestly think that the backdrop to our Main Street is probably the most beautiful in the United States. You got to remember, Joseph is a one Main Street town, so the road is a pretty big part of the town. It's just a fine line of whether you're going downhill and businesses are closing and boarding up, or that highway is bringing people in, and as they drive through, that's their impression of the town they're going to get.
What I find, first off, is there's a great deal of pride in the community, which wasn't there before, because people realize that these downtowns are a very nice place for people to be.
I think Joseph, similarly to many of the communities in Oregon, if not all of them, is situated with a state highway as its main street. And the dilemma of Joseph and all communities is, how do you deal with your community and the contrary elements of through traffic through the community and maintaining a sense of, quotes, community.
ODOT was going to come through and repave the road. And they said, we're going to do this in 2 years. Well, that set a timeline for us, because as merchants, we'd already decided we wanted to spruce the Main Street up. Fortunately, we had some real good people with ODOT in their Economic Development Office who helped us go out and find other grants, the USDA, the Department of Commerce, Old Growth Timber Fund, Oregon Lottery monies, on and on. And it just all went together with this nice deadline that ODOT had set for paving the street.
In 1996, ODOT started construction on Joseph's downtown beautification project.
When it came down to the project, they had engineers and all sorts of technical people on Main Street all of the time. There wasn't a day that went by during the project that there wasn't 1 to 2 people out there that knew intimately what was going on.
This was definitely grassroots. It started with the merchants forming a committee to try and do something about their deteriorating Main Street. Then we chose to take a public vote and tax ourselves under a very dire economy. I mean, even though a mall like this only paid $350 a year in taxes, that was a big commitment to them. And all of the merchants up and down and the landowners committed to that. And that raised $12,000 a year for 5 years, $60,000. That $60,000 leveraged that $3.5 million. But it was grassroots deal, and it really was the best of government coming in and feeding off of that grassroots effort to make it possible.
Since its completion in 2001, Joseph's beautification project is a shining example of what can happen when an old highway meets new vision.
Everybody that comes into town just says, what a beautiful Main Street. I mean, that's just your impression. I mean, and we hear it day after day after day. I've had calls from California and neighboring states asking us how this was done.
From one end of the state to the other, ODOT's Main Street projects are thriving. In Grants Pass, the downtown business district consists of a 5-mile stretch of Highway 99. For years, the southbound portion of Highway 99, called 6th Street, and the northbound portion, called 7th Street, handled all traffic traveling in and out of downtown. In 1966, Interstate 5 became a bypass around Grants Pass. But commuters still traveled along 6th and 7th Streets at a rate of more than 40,000 vehicles per day.
Good afternoon, Bookstop.
Ruth McGregor owns the Bookstop, one of more than 400 businesses in the downtown business district. When ODOT started construction on the 6th and 7th Street couplet project in 1999, she remembers how many business owners feared the worst.
Quite frankly, thought about it in the beginning as a fight or flight type project. Either we did something, it became a community project with community ownership, or it wasn't going to work for us or for the community.
ODOT wanted to build a highway. We wanted to build a community, and we just ran into loggerheads. We appointed 3 different citizen advisory committees. We'd worked with different engineering teams. It took us a while, but ODOT had a flash. It just suddenly dawned on them they were building a community.
The mission at ODOT, particularly in 1995, was to make sure that we have the capacity to get the automobile trips through the downtown Grants Pass. The merchants, on the other hand, their interest was slowing down traffic, making it more pedestrian friendly. So we had a clash of 2 cultures.
Our local newspaper was incredible. We ran front page every day on how exactly to get through traffic and what exactly was being done. We had the great good fortune to have the local contractor, Copeland Construction Company, and Bobby said to me one day, he said, "You know, I'm not building the road, I'm building my legacy."
ODOT completed the $12.5 million project in November 2000. The facelift revitalized the Grants Pass downtown business core and won a top award from the National Partnership for Highway Quality.
We still have people that say, we so appreciate our downtown, and they call it our downtown.
I think this is one of the most exciting projects that we've had since I've been on the commission, and it is really the template of what we need to be doing and what we are doing around the state.
In Portland, the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard Street Improvement Project is transforming a stretch of State Highway 99 into a charming neighborhood. And ODOT's recently completed Lakeview Preservation and Streetscape project in southeastern Oregon adds a new look to a downtown historic district that first opened its doors for business in 1896.
What I see in these communities is clearly a great deal of pride about the revitalization of their downtowns. People have a reawakening of the importance of the downtowns of the community. They view it as a place where they can go and meet, they can actually conduct business, and it becomes a focal point for the community.
ODOT's Main Street revitalization projects offer hope and inspiration to communities whose historic main streets are currently choked with traffic.
We have about 35,000 cars a day right now, right here in downtown Newburg, beautiful historic area of Oregon, one of the oldest parts of Oregon. And that number of 35,000 cars a day is going to grow to 60,000 cars a day in 20 years.
Plans are underway to build a bypass around the city of Newburg. It will also clear the way for the community to reclaim 99W and restore Newburg's historic downtown.
The goal is to make a place where retail and professional offices would enjoy being here and enjoy a place for people in Newburg and even out-of-towners to come and to enjoy perhaps restaurants. It would allow the downtown of Newburg to be a destination as opposed to just be a spot that people wanted to get through as quickly as possible on their way to the casino or to the beaches.
Main streets speak volumes about who we are and where we live. In Oregon, our main streets speak loud and clear about cooperation and collaboration, and most of all, about community pride.
A wonderful change in the attitude from the Department of Transportation itself and understanding they aren't about moving cars from point A to point B. They're about building the communities that are what Oregon is really all about.